Middle Ground is a social experiment that brings humans with opposing beliefs together. These discussions may contain viewpoints that are the result of misinformation. Remember to seek out experts and to be critical of your own biases while forming an opinion. Please see the humanity in each participant, and as always, we encourage empathy.
You're equating some minor inconveniences in your privileged life to
Why would you assume my life is privileged?
Unsupported.
But why would you assume my life is privileged, though? I mean, I don't say that about you. Why would you assume my life is privileged?
I'm privileged.
Okay, that's fine, but why would you assume my life is privileged?
For one, you're a man.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. The government has no right to tell people what to do with their body.
Vaccines.
Yeah, I don't think the government has the right to tell you what you want to do with your...
Sorry.
Okay. I stood here because of vaccines, but I know a lot of you guys probably look at me like, oh, what about abortion? Now, the thing is, when it comes to abortion, two bodies are involved. It's the woman and it's the fetus. The fetus, you know, has a heartbeat, it has DNA. It should have rights.
When?
Life begins at conception.
That's not when the heart's there.
Heartbeat starts at 4 weeks. It's not just a clump of cells, it is life. At 21 weeks, it can live outside of the womb. Abortion ends with murder and death.
Over 90% of abortions happen within the first 10 weeks.
That's still, I think that's not acceptable.
But they still have the potential of having life, though. The mortality rate of a fetus getting aborted is 100%. It's going to die when it's aborted.
And you're very lucky you'll never have to experience what it's like to have to make that choice.
But what if I become a father and, you know, the woman who I got pregnant wants to have an abortion? It's going to affect me.
You would have a discussion with your partner then and decide what you're going to do and be glad that you have a choice to even discuss with that partner.
Unfortunately,
Wait, but you don't have a choice. They can do whatever they want. They can have the kid or fetus deletus, and there's not much you really can do about it.
nature, if you take away the option or the right to do that, then they'll find it another way.
And it will be unsafe.
And
So
would you support the mom? Would you support the mom in that scenario?
If the mom had an abortion or the
No,
mom went...
no, if she gave birth.
Oh, of course. I would support her. I'd say what you do is a good thing. And
No, support her financially for the rest of her life or for the rest of the baby's life.
Are you talking about, like, what do you mean me support her? Like, as a citizen or?
If somebody has a baby...
We do have child support, and it comes from taxpayer money.
There's foster care, there's adoption, there's mothers waiting.
Those systems are very
Right, child support is paid by individuals, not from taxpayer money. I don't know what you meant by that. Unless it just means welfare in general.
broken, and people all the time are trying to stop funding for programs like that.
Now, I want to ask you guys, do you support vaccine mandates?
Yes.
So I mean, you stepped forward and said the government shouldn't tell you what to do with your body, though. Why would you support?
My issue is that I believe that the government should not be able to tell me what to do with my body, but I have to accept the consequences for the choices that I make with my body. The vaccines, for instance, I absolutely felt that everyone should get vaccinated. Why? Because this was a pandemic. But if you don't want to, I don't think the government should have to tell you that you have to. But you then have to suffer the consequences of your choices, which means you cannot patronize certain places. You can't put other people at risk.
I know you're saying they're doing it to protect us, but the coronavirus has, I think, a survival rate of almost 98%, 99%, and we're mandating these vaccines. Why are we not mandating the flu?
What's frightening to me is that you're equating some minor inconveniences in your privileged life to
Why would you assume my life is privileged?
unsupported...
But why would you assume my life is privileged, though? You don't know my life. I mean, I don't say that about you. Why would you assume my life is privileged?
I'm privileged.
Okay, that's fine, but why would you assume my life is privileged?
For one, you're a man.
You know, most people commit suicide are men. Most people who work in dangerous workplaces are men. Most people who fight in war are men.
And who set that system up?
Men.
I'm going to ask the
Wow,
people
last
to step
word.
forward.
Well, I think I give a unique perspective on this because I actually do agree with the vaccine mandate. I think COVID was just a huge disaster, and I think it could have ended a lot sooner if things were more organized.
Definitely. As far as whether the government should intervene on people's bodies, I think there are a lot of instances where the government should. One, to protect the society in general, especially in cases such as a pandemic where the disease could literally wipe out cities. In other instances as well, such as drug use, I think the government should intervene because when you have a society that's addicted to opioids or crack, it spreads like wildfire, and I've seen it firsthand. It's very difficult to control without the help of government. Now, on the topic of abortion, that one's, very complex. And in general, I always want to favor a woman's right to choose. But I think there's also a very fundamental question that both of you brought up is at what point is a fetus a human or a person? Let's say a child is 8 months in the womb, and at that point, the baby has a heart, the baby has a brain, has legs, has arms. Do you think it's okay for that to be terminated?
Nobody is doing that. And nobody is having abortions with viable fetuses unless it is a medical emergency that will kill the baby and the mother.
I mean, that's not true though, but.
My name is Ben.
Most of them
I'm
are
a
first
business
trimester.
consultant for a telecom company, and I'm a liberal dad. When it comes to the abortion issue, I am not exactly sure where I stand. I am not pro-choice or pro-life.
My name is Dawn. I'm a regional sales manager for a dialysis company as well as a therapist, and I'm a liberal parent. As far as my views on abortion, to be honest, it just makes me very sad. I can't believe that we are moving backwards by taking people's rights away to choose what's happening to their body.
Not being an LGBTQ plus ally makes someone a bad person.
It's strong, isn't it? It's
right,
a little
it's a
strong.
general way to put it. I would question someone's empathy.
That's it.
And their awareness of the other people around them, because I guarantee you know someone that's
Absolutely,
LGBTQ.
and their environment.
Right. Discussing the validity of the existence of other human beings isn't a political issue. That's like...
It's there. whether you
There's
like it
something
or not.
wrong with you
Yes.
if you no, trans people don't exist. Obviously they do. I would like to think that it's a safer world
Yes.
to be LGBTQ, but that
Yes.
would be naive.
Of course.
People are getting murdered for being trans. You know?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think that's true. Unless I missed something. Somebody went through my sub trying to find this idea that like trans people are like murdered at these highly elevated rates. I don't think that's actually a true thing. Now suicide for sure, but like murdered for being trans, I think that's pretty rare that happens.
And gay. It's scary. I have 3 kids. I have 3 boys.
Oh.
One of them is trans. I worry that, for however progressive a new generation seems, that, I have to think about, will there be violence done? Which, every parent worries about violence. That's part of the gig of being a parent.
Yes.
And I've got a new layer. My child is in a wonderfully privileged situation where they have a lot of support.
Okay, that helps.
But as they get older, their circle gets wider, and my sphere of influence gets less effective as they get older, you know? Hi, I'm Cindy. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I am a liberal parent. One of my children came out as trans 2 years ago. Mine and my husband's response was, that's great. Would you like to go by these pronouns? And would you like to pick out a name? Let's make sure that we talk to a gender specialist so we know what options there are. And we'll just take this one step at a time. We'll move forward with the best information possible.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I can provide a unique perspective on this because I'm actually bisexual. So I think not being an ally, as long as you're not harming people, you're not harassing people, you're not posting on social media that these people suck, then I don't think you're a bad person for that.
As a Christian, I don't think that being LGBTQ aligns with God's view of the family. It doesn't mean that I will disrespect them in any way. I just think that it's a sin.
As far as your faith is concerned, what would happen if your child came out to you that they were gay, bisexual, trans?
I think that if the sin is not practiced upon, it's not a problem. It can be dealt with, especially with transitioning. It usually comes from mental problems like depression, anxiety, and all those things.
So you think they can be kind of taught to not be gay?
No, I think
Pray the gay away.
Do you support conversion therapy?
No, I don't think that we can convert anyone into doing anything. I would not ostracize my child, but I would not support it, just like I don't support any sin.
So I think that if you want to be transgender, you could be transgender. We live in a again, like I said, a free nation. But if you're asking for my opinion, I believe that men and women are completely different. We have different chromosomes, different bone structure. If you are a transgender woman, I still view you as a man. You could express yourself as a woman, that's fine. But I don't believe that society should automatically, say that, okay, you're a woman. Let's say, for instance, there's a 18-year-old biological man, but says that they are a woman now. They still have male genitalia. They could walk into a woman's locker room and show off their male genitalia. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's okay.
That's not happening.
It is happening, though.
Is it really happening?
That is literally
it's rare.
transphobia.
It could happen, though.
It's rare, though, but...
And not even a trans. It could just be a creepy guy, like, pretending to be...
Yes, creepy guys are, I'm in much more danger in a women's restroom from a cisgender, straight, creepy guy than I am a trans person.
That gives them the excuse, that's what I'm trying to say.
So do you support gender-neutral bathrooms, like women and men can go into the same bathroom? Do you think that could increase the chances of rape or assault?
They already exist. It's interesting that men
There's literally no problem with gender-neutral bathrooms. These are all over Stockholm. I never saw anybody get raped, not even one time. My entire time in gender-neutral bathrooms. It's totally fine. Like, you can do this.
We're only concerned about this rape in the bathroom when we're having a conversation about trans folk.
But gender-neutral bathrooms just stem from this idea, though.
No, this idea that rape is going to suddenly go on the rise because of gender-neutral bathrooms stems from transphobia.
I'm Eden, I'm 16 years old, and I'm on the conservative teen side. I think that transitioning does more harm than good, and I think that we are born in the body that we're given, and we should stay...
Okay, hold on. For people saying, like, would depend on the location, where the rapes are before, etc., etc. Okay, if you're going to tell me that you can't make laws against guns because bad guys will still get guns, even if there's laws against them, you can't in the next breath say that, like, a potential rapist is going to be dissuaded by, like, a woman's sign. Like, there's an evil, crazy rapist chasing you that run into the woman's bathroom. It's like, oh, fuck, the force field is activated. I can't rape her now because she's in the woman's bathroom. Like, come on. All right, it's one or the other. I think if a guy wants to rape a woman, I don't think the woman's sign on the bathroom door is going to keep her from doing it.
That way, God has created us in his image, and I don't think we should change the way we are.
Owning a gun is a basic human right.
I absolutely hate hearing about school shootings on the news and just shootings in general. It's horrible. This isn't like, Spider-Man's not going to save people. People have the right to protect themselves.
A lot of mass shooters target gun-free zones because they know there's not going to be a person who's going to fight against them or shoot them back. There's a lot of mass shootings at schools, and that's because schools have gun-free zones. I view owning a gun as a right to defend myself.
I don't think that's true, okay? I don't think they're like, I'm gonna go to that school that I was bullied in and shoot them all up because it's a gun-free zone. Like,
you look at countries that have banned guns in the past, the USSR, Nazi Germany, you look at China under Mao Zedong, they stripped their citizens of arms so they could oppress them. And I think the reason why our founding fathers enshrined the Second Amendment is because they wanted us to protect ourselves against tyrannical government and to protect ourselves against danger around us too.
I think that from a woman's perspective, if as a woman you get into a dangerous situation,